It's a story about a man who doesn't like Donald Trump, who was pranked by a friend when they put a Trump sign in his yard. But when people threatened this man, he said, you know what? I'm going to make the sign bigger. And I feel like this speaks to a lot of Americans in many ways when the left forces people to become Trump supporters. I'm not a supporter of Trump. I make videos critical of Democrats, so they accuse me of being a Trump supporter. Cenk Uygur of the Young Turks called me a Trump supporter. Why? I've said Trump is bad, just not as bad as they claim he is. I think Trump is not that bad because that bad is a reference to the insane psychosis of the TV. Trump is a Republican president. I do not find him to be good. I do not find him to be as bad as they claim. I'm rather ambivalent. I think he's done some things that are okay, but for the most part, he's not my choice. I am not a supporter of his. I'm just not insane. This man was targeted and threatened with vandalism, and so he doubled down. And this to me is a physical manifestation of what we see for so many people. How many people do you think are going to say, you know what? I hate Trump. Screw it. Checking off the R come November. Because they're tired of being bullied. You can't tell me what to do. Trump's going to get that vote. Let me read you the story and we'll talk about it. 15-foot Trump sign sparks neighborhood debate over Bremerton sign code. They say, the Trump 2020 sign in Kevin Chambers' yard started out as a joke. While Chambers was away on a work trip, a friend stopped by and installed the 4x8 sign, which reads, Trump Pence 2020, Make America Great Again, in the front yard of his West Bremerton home. Chambers says he's not a supporter of Donald Trump, planned to take the sign down after about a week. It was a prank. His buddy was messing around with him, and he had a laugh about it. You know why? He's not crazy. He's a regular American. He's someone who says, I don't like Trump. But when his friends put the sign in the yard, he rolls his eyes and laughs at his buddy's joke and says, okay, well, I'll get around to taking it down. Then someone showed Chambers a screenshot from a Facebook group where commenters had discussed tearing the sign down and egging his house. He said, I decided I don't really like Trump, but I don't like people telling me what I could do in my yard more than I hate Trump. I can't really laugh because I'm losing my voice, but I love it. Bravo, good sir. I agree. I don't like Trump either, but I'll tell you what, if someone threatened me, I'd put 10 signs in my yard. I'd say, bring it on. I can do whatever I want. It's my house. So the sign stayed up until someone tagged it with spray paint. In response, Chambers and Robert Parker, a South Kitsap resident who owns the sign, used wood stilts to elevate it 15 feet above the ground. The wall just got 15 feet higher. You know the joke? So many people who tacitly voted for Trump have become staunch supporters because of the threats, because of Antifa, because of being insulted and berated and lied about. And now they are staunch Trump supporters. Now, this guy, I'm not saying he's a Trump supporter, but he quite literally just made the sign 15 feet taller. You know the meme? Back in the day, they'd say, whenever something would go crazy on the left, it would be like Trump saying the wall just got 10 feet higher. Like every time they react, he said, okay, I'm going to make the wall bigger. I'm going to make it bigger as like a punishment. That's where the sign has stayed until 2 weeks ago, when Chambers received a letter from the city telling him the sign was in violation of city code. Under Bremerton's rules, non-commercial signs are limited to a maximum height of 6 feet. The city has given Chambers until the 21st to either lower the sign or take it down. Bummer, dude. Total city buzzkill. Come on. Let the dude defy the vandals, the haters, and the terrorists. What started as a joke between friends has now evolved into a debate over how the city regulates signs. Chambers argues the 6-foot height limit is too strict for a sign on his property that doesn't block sight lines for drivers and isn't a safety risk. He also believes the city's response was motivated by the content of the sign. And this is where we kick it into high gear. It's on his property. Who cares about what the sign says? He could hang it from a tree. They're saying, oh, it's too high, you gotta take it down. No, it sounds like they don't like Trump. So here's a guy who doesn't like Trump now going to battle the city. You can't tell me what to do. But city planners say the code is written to regulate all non-commercial signs, not just ones with political messages. And the 6-foot sign limit is based on the specific zoning in the area where the sign is located. Quote, we're not saying that based on the content of his sign, he has to take it down. It's purely that, hey, your sign is too high. Just bring it down a bit. That way we're in compliance. That was from the city planner, Justin Rowland. Almost Justin Roiland, huh? Under Bremerton's code, non-commercial speech signs are signs with religious, political, social, or philosophical messages and don't promote commercial products or services. Signs can't be bigger than 32 square feet, and the maximum height is limited to 6 feet tall, measured from the ground to the top of the sign. The city doesn't proactively search for signs that are out of compliance, Rowland said. Instead, complaints from citizens drive what signs the city code compliance department investigates. In this instance, a December 18th complaint from a resident alerted the city to Chambers' sign, which means the only reason it's being targeted is because it's a Trump sign. Period. Nobody's going to complain about a sign that says something like, Bernie. Maybe I really doubt a Trump supporter would. So they say, City Planning Manager Allison Satter said she agreed with Chambers that the way the sign is displayed now doesn't pose any health or safety issues. Because it's not a health or safety issue, it's not a priority for the city, but it is a violation. You can say whatever you want on your property. You just have to be compliant with those two minimal codes. The issue is more broad for Chambers, who said he wouldn't have had to raise the height of the sign if the city properly enforced its rules on graffiti. He also called out overzealous neighbors who don't believe people can have their own opinion. There's a lot of anger and vitriol when people don't agree, and that's why I let the sign stay up in the first place. When city code doesn't regulate specific content on non-commercial speech signs, Chambers said the fact the sign advertises President Trump's re-election played a part in the city's decision to cite him for a violation. He said, I think the complaint was politically motivated, and I don't think the city would have responded this way if it wasn't Trump. Personally, I don't live there, but I think so. People complained because it was a Trump sign. If it was anything else, they'd have said nothing, no one would care, and he'd get on with his life. They're targeting the political message and telling him, essentially, your joke sign ain't gonna fly here because we don't like Trump. And you can see there's a photo, it's got graffiti on it. They say, so the city treats all non-commercial signs the same way, regardless of messaging, Rowland said. And I'm going to say, yes, that's true, but they only react to complaints, and the complaint is due to the nature of the sign. If there are complaints about any other potential candidates for the upcoming elections, if complaints are made about those signs and we look at it, we will follow through the same way. And there it is. Only if complaints are made. You know what, man? It was a joke. That was it. And now you've made this guy defend Donald Trump. This is like the perfect physical manifestation of 2020. Everybody who was like, I'm thinking about Trump, and then got smeared and insulted and berated said, fine, you want to be lunatics? Check the box. Cities and counties across the country made changes to local sign rules following a Supreme Court ruling in the Reed v. Town of Gilbert that held regulations governing signs must be content neutral. Bremerton altered its code in 2016, including a change that shifted political signs under the larger heading of non-commercial. Bremerton's code passes muster under the ruling, according to Bob, this is tough, Gomulkiewicz. I can't pronounce last names, and that one is a doozy. Sorry, Bob. A professor of law at University of Washington who teaches classes on property law and freedom of speech. He said, when I read Bremerton's sign ordinance on its face, it looks like they have done a nice job of regulating signs for constitutionally permissible reasons. He added that the Supreme Court also held that cities can have different rules for commercial and non-commercial signs. Right now, cities can more heavily regulate commercial speech. I think Bremerton has done a nice job there, and that they have less regulation of non-commercial speech. So how is he not allowed to have a sign on his property? What if he just put it on his house? Chambers said he hasn't decided yet whether he'll take the sign down by the Jan 21st deadline. If he doesn't, the city may forward the case onto code enforcement. If the sign still isn't in compliance, Chambers could be fined. Right now, I'm evaluating our options on how I want to proceed. Look, I do have to keep this short because I'm struggling to talk. Hopefully I can work tomorrow, but I really wanted to go into greater detail, so I'll do the best I can for the next minute or so. How many people do you know, passively or tacitly voted for Trump even though they hate the guy, who have now become staunch Trump supporters because of Antifa? How many people didn't want to vote for Trump, but witnessed Antifa bash someone over the head, witnessed fires and beatings and brutality and just hostility and rage, and that's made them want to vote for Donald Trump? I know a lot of people who are sitting there questioning, like, why are you yelling at me? I didn't vote for the guy. Why are you screaming in my face? Why are you calling me a fascist? And now they're saying, you know what? Fine. You reap what you sow. Is this what you want? You want it so bad? Fine. How many people feel like the Democrats on the left have forced them out of the party? And so they say, fine. If you don't want me in your tent because it's too big, like AOC says, R across the board. I'm willing to bet this guy's going to vote for Trump. I think so. He doesn't like the guy, but here he is having the city come after him, threatening him, and taking special exemption because his buddy put a joke sign in his yard. And there you go. So again, I'm going to keep it short. Sorry, guys. One more segment coming up, and I will see you in a few minutes.